جناح أشواقي وأسأل عنك، تحديني الفرحة ويغمرني النور اللي يظهر منك. ما شفتك.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the marriage seminar, where inshallah in few minutes, maybe 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about one very important task, and that is the rights of husband and wife. I will divide the talk into two chapters or sections. The first one talks about the general rules, how to treat others, especially the husband and wife or the spouse. So when we talk about others, there are very important teachings from the Quran on this way, and that to say that first rule in Islam is no gender discrimination. According to many verses from the Quran, both men and women are created from the same soul, from the very same root and nature. So if there is something cultural, and we have to admit that there is some discrimination in some cultures about mistreating women and thinking that men are superior whilst women are inferior, we have to say firmly and seriously that this is wrong. This is nothing to do with Islam at all. We can't find even one single reference from the Quran and the Hadith, the traditions of the Prophet and the error-free Imams, to indicate that there is some sort of superiority of men over women. Unfortunately, this is the culture in certain countries, I'm not going to name them, that they think that the man is always the master of the world and his say is definitive and no one can argue about it. And we've seen examples, unfortunately, in dealing with family problems, that the man thinks that, yes, he is right to do whatever he wants, and the wife does not have such a right. Briefly, because we can't go, in details about that, but I tell you only about the bullet points or the very simple guidelines. So we have no gender discrimination in Quran or Islam at all. So we have to encourage the boys who wants to marry, men who already are married, and the whole society that, look, do not ever think that you have some sort of superiority over the spouses. Yes, the only thing is the morality, is the education, is the understanding, and can be both ways. Either the man is more educated in this particular case, for example, than his woman, or if, for example, the lady is more spiritually trained and morally qualified to handle things, definitely she is better than her husband if he is less informed about the subject. The second point is to treat every person justly and with fairness. And if I may borrow an example from the carpenter's tools. A carpenter in the old days, normally, not now, the machinery is running everything. In the old days, any carpenter had three main tools. One was the axe, and the other one was the saw, and the third one, what is the plane or the plain blade. What is the difference between these two or these three? An axe brings all the sawdust toward the carpenter. whilst the plane or plane blade pushes all the sawdust forward and nothing remains with the carpenter. The saw brings some toward the carpenter and throws some others toward the other part. So we have to learn to be like a saw, which gives some for yourself, gives some for others, and this is the whole meaning of what? Treating people fairly and justly. Otherwise, if you want everything to be on your side, no, it is not right. Or it is good to be self-sacrifice person and always you want to put the needs of others prior to your own needs, but it is not practical all the times. So to be fair all the time. The third point is very important again in our research, and that is to have unconditional love and care for others, for their problems, for their shortcomings. Again, here I'm going to use two examples. Normally, you know about the teacher described as a candle. A candle burns itself in order to create light for others. So it burns itself, reduces its size, and have some sort of injustice to itself in order to help others to have light, yeah? Which is a good example. But once I found another example which is more sacrificing and more useful in this way, unconditional care for others. And that is the soap. The soap reduces its size and eliminate itself in order to remove the dirt of others. See? So when the person can help in this way to do whatever he or she can in removing the shortcomings and the problems of others, to ignore them, and ignore them not don't care about them, no, to ignore their shortcomings and their faults. Unfortunately, this is one of the most difficult parts in the matrimonial and marital life. Always argue about you did this, you didn't do that, you did not attend to my needs, or you did not iron my shirt, the food wasn't nice, and so on. A list of complaints about the shortcomings. We have in Islam, we have in the Quran, we have in the manner and the life of the Prophet ﷺ and the error of the Imam ﷺ, every single incident and many examples to tell us that a person who doesn't put his finger on the faults of others, rather try to avoid them or even pretend not to notice those shortcomings. It's very, very important. And only in this way we can create an atmosphere which is healthy and cooperative and some sort of harmony is going on in the family. But imagine when a husband always is nagging and trying to say, you were not this, you did this, you were not attending that, and the wife on the other hand says that, bring me, oh, you forgot my birthday to bring me flowers, and you forgot my birthday totally, and you forgot to bring food because the fridge is empty, and this and that. All right? So we always need this sort of closing our eyes on other people's shortcomings and faults. And the fourth point is, what is the best of treatments? In the Quran, we read many ayat, and those are familiar with the original and original Arabic version of the Quran. Al-mu'ashara bil-ma'ruf, wa'ashiruhunna bil-ma'ruf. It is very, very sad that many husbands think that This ayah is not binding or doesn't give some sort of obligatory action or accountability towards the wife or the family. عاشروهن بالمعروف. What is عاشروهن بالمعروف? What is two best of treatments? First, to give and give and give without stopping in giving. The whole life, the whole universe around us is to indicate the giving abundantly. Do you know the heat which is given by sun and the gravity which helps the whole solar system and our globe where we are living on is continuously giving and giving and giving and doesn't stop giving for a second? Your heart, from the moment the life is breathed in you, in the embryo, in the little child, little being inside his mother's womb, until 70 years, 75, 100, 4, I don't know, whatever is the span of the life, it continues giving warmth, life, energy, oxygen, and doesn't stop for a minute. So why don't we learn from all surroundings that to give and give and give? Number one. Number two, to put others, as I said, the other spouse's needs prior to your own needs. Again, these are Quranic teachings that one is called ithar and the other one is called athara or ithra, which means the first one to put the needs of others prior to your own needs. وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. But the other one, those who are selfish, those who think that they are the center of the world and everything must serve them. Whatever suits them is good. If it doesn't suit them, oh, now put a big cross to reject it. The other one, which is very, very important in our life, is manage your anger. We have a hadith from Imam Ali alayhi salam, and we know who is Imam Ali. Imam Ali, the hero of Islam by all Muslims. Imam Ali, the one by whose self-sacrifice and the struggle and the courageous behavior in all battlefields managed to support Islam and defend Islam when the enemies were attacking Islam. Imam Ali alayhi salam, the most courageous personality in Islam, says, do you know who is the most courageous person? The most courageous person is the one who can control his anger. It is obvious that some psychological things, some chemical elements leads to anger and heated, and you continue in that, you lose your control. And again to Imam Ali alayhi salam, we know that he says, الحدة ضرب من الجنون وآية ذلك أن صاحبها يندم فإن لم يندم فجنونه مستحكم. Anger is a type of idiocy, insanity, because Imam alayhi salam says that because the person regrets later on and says, oh, I hope and I wish that I haven't done it. And he knows that there are certain people who do not regret. So that if he or she does not regret, means that his insanity is very deep. Otherwise, a wise person, a reasonable person, when he does something wrong, and I understand that what was done was wrong, tries to apologize. So the one who doesn't apologize and doesn't think that I haven't done something wrong. No, I've done everything good. Yeah, means that still there is a problem with their mentality, and they have to seek some sort of advice from the psychiatrist or somebody who is expert to change their life. Then another risk in the life or the relationship between husband and wife is the suspicion. Many men destroy the life and the household and their family by the continuous suspicion of the wife. Why did you laugh? Whom you were talking to on the phone? Why did you come back late? And this and that goes to the list of all these suspicions. And at the same time, a wife who has suspicions about it. So what we need here is, if there is strong and solid reason to see that something is wrong, we have to sit down in a calm way, try to analyze that, question it, and try to find a solution for it. But just to allow this suspicion to build up and end up with enmity, and you think that that's the end of it and there is no way to cure it, it is not the right thing to do. Then we know about al-mu'ashara bil-ma'ruf, and to treat the wife well and in the right manner. There is a hadith from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that if you sit with your wife and spend time with them and with your wife and your children, try to keep their company for an hour, is more important in the eye of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to spend 70 months in my mosque. All your time is devoted to acts of worship and communicating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Isn't it strange? Unfortunately, some men come very, very late. Okay? And where have been? Oh, I spent some time with my friends, and we are having the pastime or chatting. And nowadays in Edgware Road is the shisha, and we spend shisha, hubble bubble, yeah? Or some other, yes, I've seen that, yeah. In my way, for example, I see that all the pavements are full of people, and they're killing the time only just, then your wife is waiting for you, especially she's a young one. And I had this argument with one boy who was very, very recently married, and the wife was complaining about him coming late, and the only reason for, okay, I can't lose my friends. But the best friend is at home. The best friend is your wife who is waiting for you. She is young, she has needs, and you can, and in this way to treat the wife in the best manner and the right manner, to keep the company, her company and the children, is something very, very important, and the advice is there to do that. Anyway, there are some more, but one thing is, again, in the hadith to tell us about the husband and wife, that a right and well-educated man is the one who enjoys the happiness and the joy of his wife and his children. So when he sees that they are enjoying, he feels happy about it. But the sinful person is the one who first wants to fulfill his needs and ignore the needs of the spouse and the family. These are the general rules, but if the chair allows me to continue, the second part are the religious rulings, and I won't take more than 6 to 7 minutes, all right? So the specific rulings in Islam or Islamic law about the duties and the obligations or the rights of husband and wife. Unfortunately, the misinterpretation of some texts of the Quran and Hadith led in the past to many wrong judgments. One of them is that there is a technical term in the Quran called nushuz, and the lady who is labeled by this is nashiz. In some translations, they translate it as the disobedient wife. I have 2 comments on that. As someone who spent last 40 years in learning and teaching and lecturing and writing about Islamic law, that it is wrong. Nushuz doesn't mean disobedience at all, first. Second, that we have both nushuz for men and women, which means that if A man does not fulfill his duties. If the husband doesn't come with obligations, again he is nashes. The nushuz is there. So anyone who is not fulfilling his duties will be held accountable and he is doing wrong. But the mentality of many communities, or let's say many, many communities is better word to use, is that only the wife is coming out with this sort of disobedience or leaving or not attending to her duties, and the man is always secure. Now, when the man stops maintaining his wife and his children, he's nashes. When a man says that my wife has her income support or DSA, I don't know, I mean the public fund, and I am released from responsibility to maintain her, this is wrong. Even when the wife has £1 million in her account, even she's a working woman and she has her own salary, and let me very, very frank and very clear about this subject, that Islamically the wife is not required to contribute to the running costs of the household at all. So let's suppose that there are two, I mean the husband and the wife. The husband is a doctor, the wife is a doctor, yeah? Both of them have salaries. Islam doesn't put the burden of paying the mortgage or the bills on the shoulder of the wife at all. Although morally it is good that, I mean, so we are not always strict in giving the rulings, I mean, but morally, I mean, when the wife sees that, I mean, the husband is doing everything to satisfy his family, then okay, go and borrow, but this is my money, I don't allow you to touch it, I want to spend it in a way which pleases me. No, that is not the right thing. But we are talking about the articles of the law, the Islamic law. So even the wife is a millionaire, she is not required to contribute to running cost of the what? The household. So here is something very, very important, and if the person of the man says that I'm not going to pay, or practically doesn't do that, he is nashes too. He is not fulfilling his duties. And as we said, al-mu'ashara bil-ma'ruf, not treating well. So if a husband turns the house in a situation which is unbearable hardship, which is al-haraj al-shadid, alladhi la yutaq. Yeah? Again, he must be summoned by the marji' al-taqlid or his representative, the supreme religious authority, to educate him. But unfortunately, there are men who think that they are secure. Whatever they do, even when you send them a letter to invite them to come and listen to this, they don't come. And when they come again, they insist on their opinions. Don't think that I am in support of this part of the whole and against the other part, which means that I am supporting the female or the sisters, and I am trying to put more blame on the men. I'm not like that at all. But because always when there is extreme reaction to something, you have to make a balance and to explain, oh, it is not only on your part, you can, and you have to look at the other part. And finally, we have to observe that the marriage is a constitution, is institution, is a project, is something which needs the cooperation from both parts. For those young people who want to enter the marriage, they have to understand that they have duties, they have obligations, and they have to be in charge and act in a way which makes them responsible for their duties. And of course, the ladies must know, or the girls must know, that the first thing is to put the teaching and the guidelines of Islam and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, because we know the one who created us knows what is the best for us, worldly and spiritually. And if we stick to the teachings of the Quran and the Hadith, to the Prophet ﷺ and the Imams, and we consult the ulama or those experts, people in Islamic law, definitely we avoid many mistakes and many problems. Let's hope that this is only a beginning to a better understanding and communication between husband and wife. And by doing so, we go further to a strong family. Thank you for listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
تحدين الفرحة ويغمرني النور اللي يظهر منك ما شفتك مولود